Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Three Man Weave Best Bets Saturday show. It's Spinny Saturday. Matt does not have his spinny hat. How dare he? But I at least joined this time, Kai, after being deficient last weekend. I'm back in action with my spinny hat, back in my normal setup here. Fellas, how we doing? Ready to talk 145 games? Kyle, go to you first. Any takeaways from the week? Anything you want to discuss before we get into this monster schedule?
Yeah, I have one takeaway, Jim. I watched all the Merrimack game, at least the parts that ESPN Plus actually showed. For them not to cover two is one of the most astounding things I've ever witnessed. Even during the game, I was like, they're surely going to cover two, right? Aren't they going to cover two? They didn't cover two. Matthew was frustrating. The score was 8-0 in the last 3 minutes. That's right, 8-0. Merrimack scored 0 points. They missed the front end of a free throw to cover at the end. Uh, Okay, it's off my chest. Saturday time. Hi, Matt.
Hi, how you guys doing? Why are we betting the road teams on like those 10 a.m. starts? I thought we learned that's like the
Oh,
home teams like 90% ATS.
they were
Have
up
we learned
10
that
like the
lesson by
whole
now?
game. It was a good bet. They're
Yeah,
awesome. I
Merrimack's
love
nice
that
team.
team. I love that team.
Yeah, fun team.
Win the MAC for me. Win the MAC. Plus
Yeah,
750. Plus 900, something like that. I forget what I
I
have.
got 9-1. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, good.
Okay,
Okay,
Matt, go
Matt,
ahead.
then that's all Matt had. I think Matt wants to
Okay.
talk hoops, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's
Matt's
135
distracted.
games. Yes, last time was dumb. Nothing cool happened. Who played? There's one big game, Minnesota, Wisconsin, or whatever.
Yeah, Wisconsin won the second half by like 25. Yeah,
Yeah,
just did this
Minnesota's
right.
a corpse at this point. All right, okay,
Yeah, Matt,
next.
it's been Ben
Next.
Johnson getting fired, Matt. That's your quick yes no.
Yes,
Okay. Well,
yes.
It's
When
time
all
to
is
right,
the
move on.
question?
folks.
It's time to
When?
move
Let's
on.
yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the outline here, as you may see on your screens. We're going to start with Iowa State at Texas Tech. Big old showdown in the Big 12. This is a huge one for Texas Tech, considering they have not notched a really marquee win yet. At BYU, maybe up there, but this one would really legitimize them as a national contender, as a Final Four contender, perhaps. Matthew, I loved the Raiders in the preseason. It seems others love the Red Raiders today, betting them out to -2.5. People love the spot. Total of 147.5 indicates where these offenses are at. What say you about this game?
Yeah, well, it opened like 152, so I think people are sort of buying into like this might be a typical throwback Big 12 Iowa State of old grinded out type game. And I think McCaslin is like really trying to lean into his defense after they had like what he called the most embarrassing defensive performance of his coaching career 2 games ago. Looked better last game, obviously. Now back home, I think -3 is too much. I think Iowa State's too. I have too much respect for that team to fade Iowa State catching three, Kai. Like I love Texas Tech. What about the spot? Sure, but if you're betting Tech at 2.5, three, you're paying a large tax to fade a really good Iowa State team.
Yeah, like Jim said, Tech could really use the win for the resume. Off the Beehive State sweep, the Utah BYU road sweep, impressive. Jim said it, market's betting Texas Tech. Not surprising. It's been happening all season in these spots. The market loving the home team. Tech's defense, I think, is the weak link here. They're going to be challenged to get stops. The no middle might play more into a better game plan against the clones that prefers to attack inside instead of do their offense from outside the arc. But on the other end, I do think Texas Tech can score, but Iowa State's perimeter length, I think, is a major challenge. I did lean Tech when it was like, or if it was like +1, for instance, like KenPom has it, Jim, but not 2 or 2.5. Can't get there.
Yeah, sitting at three now, as Matt said. They
Yeah.
took more money like as we started the show here, so
Yeah.
people just love in the Red Raiders. I think the big point, Matt, you mentioned it. Texas Tech last game slowed things down. Last two, really, by far the two slowest games of their season. Seems like maybe that's going to be the go-to for them. That was always McCaslin's MO
Right.
at North Texas.
I think
Maybe
it'll be
this
a
will be
hybrid, right? Not like 356 tempo, but like, hey, that was a disaster defensive. We're not going to ever like, sacrifice our offense at the expense of our defense again. So I think this is like the new normal.
maybe I'm crazy, Matt. Will you turn down a little on your
Oh, am I too
mic?
loud? Yeah.
Just a little. Not.
I just had a
Don't
lot of hot
listen here.
takes today. People got to get
Yeah,
ready for them.
yeah, exactly. Good. Okay, we'll go to the SEC. And again, the theme today, folks, is highly ranked teams on the road, teams that most bettors trust or like more are on the road, and you have to decide, am I going to dip into the home team? Am I going to ride the spot, the buy low, sell high? There's a lot of those today. So we've got Alabama here, who's won four straight games by 20 plus. They are headed to Texas A&M. Kai, who just got a massive come from behind win at Oklahoma. They were down 18. No Wade Taylor again could be notable here against a much stiffer athletic test on the other side. Texas A&M dominated the extras against Oklahoma. That might be harder to do against the Tide. I'll give it away, Kai. I like the Tide minus 2.5 here. Total 161. Where do you stand?
Yeah, I jumped on Bama when Taylor was announced out. I think that's huge. A&M got down by 20 without him against Oklahoma. I know they had an impressive comeback, but I point to getting down by 20, a little bit more than that. Bama needs to protect the glass. That's the game. A&M isn't going to hit shots. They're going to score by bullying Bama at the rim. They're going to score by getting offensive rebounds. That's a concern. I think Alabama you would classify a little bit more as finesse than brawny. If you had to put them in a category. I just think the Tide had too much firepower on the other end. They score so efficiently. However, the key, again, Matthew, the glass, it's harder to get on fast breaks and in transition if you can't defensive rebound. The glass is sort of going to determine all. A&M actually grades pretty poorly against transition, below average per synergy, and they allow a lot of it, presumably because of the glass crash. So that is the focal point right there. It's the offensive rebounding on Texas A&M's end. I think 3 is about the right line. Again, I did hop in at 1.5, 2 when Taylor was announced out.
Yeah, I hope Buzz learned his lesson from last year. A&M at Bama was a bloodbath, and they got crushed in transition for that exact reason, Kai. If you're going to sell out for the boards, you tend to be a little bit leaky going the other way, and no one comes at you faster than Bama. I actually took A&M at 3.5. Market's been kind of bouncing back and forth. I'm with in the camp of Wade Taylor doesn't really mean much to this team. They're such a system type team. I just don't think they need him. As good of a player as he is, I just think that they're going to be fine without him. Yeah, home dog. One of the many home SEC dogs today, Jim, as you alluded to, where I kind of just bit on the home sweet home spot. So another one for me here. Nothing big, just small A&M. Home doggy.
Interesting. Yeah,
SEC homes.
I think
respect them.
it feels a little more like against Alabama, his absence might matter more than it did against Oklahoma, and it's second game out, so that does concern me. Also, Texas A&M for 7 straight years under Buzz been bottom 15 in 3-point attempt rate against. They play very compact. They switch everything. They want to keep you on the perimeter. I think Alabama's going to be okay with that. Mark Sears has been on fire lately. Could see a huge game coming for him here. All right. Next up, Jesus, Zhang. My goodness. Our guy.
What's Zhang
Left
doing?
Angle Sports hanging in the chat. Woo! Put it all out there. I respect it.
Yeah, Left Angle Sports is crushing. Does he have locks day, by the way? Zhang, please share if you haven't already.
He gave us money, Matthew.
Yep.
Okay, good. I need that, and then his winners as well. Thank you, Zanger, and everyone else say thank you as well for his winners in the Discord.
Hey, we're closing his teaser today. We're closing his teaser with Ravens.
That's right.
Left Angle Sports. Kansas at Cincinnati in the Big 12 here. Matt, I got to go to you first because you really beat the drum for the Bearcats in the preseason, and they have kind of come up short. They've not been great in close games. They have underwhelmed a little bit. Now they got Kansas coming to town, who has been great defensively in 3 of their last 4 halves. Look a little more dialed in after that home court loss to West Virginia. Another better team, ostensibly, on the road versus a hype home team. Where'd you lean here?
I took Cincy again, home dog. I was suckered into the spot. I also took the under, Jim, as you mentioned. I think KU's defense has looked really good. We sort of bemoaned their offensive deficiencies. I think they deal with those same trials and tribulations today. This feels, yeah, we'll see. Big old test today against Aziz and the front line, Dylan Mitchell and those fellas. I think this game is like 55-52 since he wins or something. It's going to be gross. Fifth Third Arena as a Cincy backer. Please give me your 10 out of 10 effort today. Like I need a good home court. I think they bring it. It's usually one of the better ones out there. But that's you're betting on a just full bore crowd going for it type of effort today from the home dog.
Yeah, they need to stop the bleeding. The wins just aren't there right now, resume wise, especially with Dayton kind of looking shaky. Now they've dropped all 3 Big 12 contests. As much crap as Kansas gets, and I'm a Mizzou guy, and I love crapping on Kansas, but they just won by 51 on the road and 19 at home against Arizona State after the West Virginia loss. Kind of a wake-up call, I think. This is still a very, very good team. And Dickinson, I think he just stifles Bandago. I think that's pretty huge to take Bandago out of the offensive identity for Cincinnati. He's such a lob threat, and he does a lot, not necessarily put up a ton of points in counting stats, but I think he's very important. I think Dickinson kind of negates that inside. I think Cincinnati's guards also need to rediscover their outside shooting. And when things go poorly, you see them really break down on the ball sharing efforts between Lukosius and Thomas and James. Can't all be the man. Let's figure it out. Let's get some chemistry in there. I agree, though. Huge home court environment at Fifth Third today. I do lean their way at a pick.
Yeah, the total thing's interesting. Cincinnati's offense has been awful against good teams. 60 points on 58 possessions against Villanova, 65 or 68 on 70 against Xavier, 66 on 64 against Dayton, and then all three Big 12 games have been under 1 point per possession. My guy David Clark, my Cincinnati fan, just cannot stand watching them play offense. They don't look like they have a plan, and you go against a top 10 defense that's been completely shutting teams down, that does spook me. I'm staying away with a lean to the under in that game. In a game I don't like the under, in fact, I like the opposite. Back to the SEC, Florida, Arkansas. I like the over here, fellas. I'll just say that right out. I wrote it up for Action Network. It was 154.5 when I wrote it. It is 157.5 now. Still kind of like it. 158 was mentally my cutoff there. So still think it's viable. Florida at Arkansas. Kai, both teams played slower games, kind of uglier brawls, last two out. Florida definitely loves to run. I think Arkansas is better in an up-tempo game, as we saw against Michigan. So I think this one pinballs back and forth. The side, that's probably a little trickier. We'll see if Matt goes with another SEC home dog, but I like the over. I like points. What do you think?
I understand the spot. I understand this is a lot of points for a not dead yet talented Arkansas squad, but it's impossible to back the Hogs, I think, if you've watched these teams play. Golden and staff are so far ahead of Calipari and staff, it's laughable. It's like a guy with a computer versus a guy with a pen and paper,
An abacus.
asking to solve a complex math problem. It literally is that big of a mismatch from the coaching standpoint. I think Florida physically overwhelms Arkansas. The Hogs aren't scoring in the paint at all. Florida has the much better backcourt. They're way more in sync as a team right now, most importantly. Gators, 4.5 for me.
Yeah, I like Arkansas small. Again,
Just
small,
because of the spot. Just because of the
All
spot.
these sharp spot
No,
bettors love Arkansas today.
no, I mean, look, they played Baylor really close. They beat Michigan. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
not a
that's
bad
two
team.
examples of like, they played well in two big games. Like, obviously, like they looked terrible against Ole Miss. I mean, I think Ole Miss is really good, and Tennessee on the
Awful
road.
loss back against the wall. How are you that bad at home?
Well, yeah, I
First
think
half
this
wasn't
is
that bad, but they were horrible.
yeah,
in the
right. They're
second
up at
half.
half. Again, I send one of the
Tied.
Cincinnati. Like I'm going like a double back against the wall here, right? Off two straight losses. Like I Cincy is three straight losses, but two straight losses.
Just
Um,
Matt. Martingale them until they win.
Yeah, I think the falling knife, I catch it today at home, which is just a big effort. And I just Florida, like I think that was such a, I think today's an exhale effort from Florida, right? Like that was such an awesome win against Tennessee. They beat freaking Tennessee by 30. They're just not going to play as well today.
Uh,
Just gut intuition. I just don't think they play as well. You don't play as well as you played in a game. You just beat Tennessee by 30. Just a slight exhale. Gators are still awesome long term. Love them. I think these teams play 7 times. Florida wins 5, but today is one of the two. I think Arkansas wins.
Ooh, outright.
Here's a hot take for
Matty
you,
money
Matty.
lines.
I don't think Florida played
Not
that
enough
well
that.
against Tennessee. They shot 30% from three. They shot sub 50% from two. It was not like this home run, holy cow, look at Florida buzzsaw. It was Tennessee being ice cold, one of the worst shooting performances you'll ever see. So maybe they get some defensive regression there and Arkansas actually makes shots, but Arkansas has no plan offensively. It's a little bit of my turn, your turn. They're facing zone at the highest rate in the entire country. And some of that's because of schedule, but teams are like, they
Yeah.
don't move the ball. There's a lot of selfishness on that team. They don't know what the pecking order is. Nelly Davis is a zero.
So sad.
I
So sad.
He
yeah,
looked good last game. I thought he was
I
better last
kind of
game.
lean Florida. I would lean Florida against the spot here. Matt, you got Elijah
Love
versus
the
Nelly.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how Nelly was the star last year. Elijah kind of struggled most of the year. I think he was injured. Now Elijah fully healthy, awesome. Nelly sort of struggling to find his footing. So yeah, maybe Nelly gets up for this game. I gotta feel like he gets up for this game. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I know like Stucky's on it. I just got off VEASAN. Tim Murray's on Arkansas. A lot of like your spot people
Yeah, I'm a
are
spot
all
sucker.
over the
I'm a
Hogs.
spot square today.
I lean Florida. They just know who they are, and Arkansas has no idea who they
Just
are.
yeah.
All right.
I don't know. If you've watched these two teams play, it's hard to bet Arkansas, in my opinion.
Yep. All right, Kai, we are here to chat now. Before we do, make sure you join the Trilly Donovan Discord, the burner. That is where we're talking games all the time. We're already chatting about games this morning, so some people in the chat probably know our takes on a few games already. We'll continue to do so after the show, so jump in there. That's just one benefit of the Discord. You also get Trilly's Intel. You get film room chat with Kevin Sweeney and Eric Fawcett. All kinds of great just transfer portal discussions, coaching carousel. Great place to hang if you're a college hoops fan. If you're not, get in there. Do it now. $6 a month. Best $6 you'll spend. All right, Kai, what do we got in the chat?
All right, let's go with Brand. Utah State and Boise State, a big Mountain West battle. Matthew, Utah State is laying 5 pretty much across the board here. Your thoughts?
I like Utah State. I know it seems like I think I've been betting against them a lot recently, but and maybe they are due for a bad game. But I'm not all the way in on this Boise team. Boise, it's not as athletic of the Boise teams we're used to seeing, like the really dominant defensive bedrock team under Leon Rice. This team's very good, but I don't think this team is as athletically imposing defensively. I just don't like the Boise State makeup. Kind of an eye test gut lean for me. I like the Utah State Aggie shim with that zone. First time these Mountain West teams are seeing it. First time through.
We're going to knock out 2 11 a.m. tips, 11 a.m. Central. Louisville and Pitt, Jim, from Ted. The Cardinals are laying, Pitt is laying 4. Cardinals visiting. Pitt off the Duke loss. Thoughts?
Yeah, I saw this at 3.5, and I was like, I just think Pitt is better. Even with Traore back and contributing for Louisville, I think Pitt is better, plus off a loss, plus at home. I'd be riding the Panthers here. Maybe wait till second half. They've been a little bit of a slow starting team and a buzzsaw in the second half.
Yeah.
Duke game accepted. But
Louisville, not a lot of
like
depth.
Pitt.
I like that. I agree.
Matthew, you get at 11 o'clock. Creighton and Butler, the first game on the Roto board. Creighton is actually taking a little bit of money now, out to 3 in some spots on the road at Butler. Home dog.
Yeah, this is a spot I didn't bite on. I remember Butler going into Creighton when no one thought they'd be any good, and they beat Creighton. So the matchup wise, it seems like there's been some success. Mata versus McDermott, anecdotally. I need to look that up data wise, but I don't know. Kai, is Butler are they just kind of the walking zombies?
Yeah.
Eight straight losses.
I was gonna say,
Eight straight losses.
Do you know the last time they won a game?
Eastern
December
Illinois.
3rd.
I think they were actually
Sad.
tied at the half with EIU at that game.
Very sad.
Again, there's been some close but no cigar efforts in there. It's like they've been terrible during that stretch, but still, it's like you're betting them to win today. They haven't done that in 2 months, or a
They
month.
suck.
Speaking of betting to win today, Jim, how about Syracuse at Boston College? It's a pick.
Whoa.
Pick the winner. Pick the winner.
Matt,
Syracuse got to win.
Matt, do you have a take on this?
They
I have
beat
no
Syracuse.
Syracuse.
Because I love when I lose on Syracuse, I just get to unleash holy fury of frustration and hell on Red Autry. So yeah, Syracuse probably a loser.
Likely no Starling still, right? I don't
he's
think
back.
No, he's back, but
Oh, is he
Donnie
back?
Donnie Freeman is questionable.
Who cares?
So
He didn't play.
Starling's
I think
way more
I don't know who
important.
matters. I think Starling's more important. I agree with Jim.
Charleston at Monmouth. I have no take in this game. Charleston's taking some money now, though, up to 7 at Monmouth. Jim.
Yeah.
Matt. He said
Sorry,
first.
like I say, I have a take here. Number was
Okay.
high, but King Rice, man, sounds absolutely. I've never heard him sound so dejected. Like I think he thinks his team is kind of not quit, but he thinks like I know the Abdi Bashir thing. He's already pimped him out as like he's in the portal. I think this team is a bunch of just like individual dudes. There's no team element to Monmouth. I would fade Monmouth today. Just a gut intuition.
All right, Jim. You get. Can't read my writing. Oh, Missouri Valley tilt. Yeah. Okay. Belmont at Indiana State. I've bet on Belmont a ton this year. I've faded Indiana State a ton this year. I took Belmont again, Jim. I faded Indiana State again. Belmont 2.5.
I'm with you. Let's do it again. Let's repeat our insanity and keep fading this Indiana State team that's definitely better than I thought they were going to be. Belmont should beat them. They are better coached, and I personally think they have more talent. But we'll see. We'll see if we're right, Kai. I like the Bruins with you.
171 the total. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I leaned the.
High
I
scoring.
couldn't take it. I can't take
Yeah, that's
170.
too high.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Matthew, another ACC tilt. Florida State at Clemson. This one from another Matthew in the chat. Thoughts?
Lean Florida State. I don't feel like I think 8 was it 8. I think 8 was too high on the opener.
Yeah, 7.5.
Lean
now.
Florida State. So just a gut intuition there. I know nothing strong. Just thought it was too high number wise.
Pat in the chat. Lipscomb in West Georgia. My advice would be not to bet the A-Sun ever.
Yeah.
20
Don't
points.
bet West Georgia.
West Georgia off its first win in A-Sun play against Austin P. Guess who had Austin P? This guy. 20 points is a lot, but Lipscomb's way better. Not even close.
Yeah, Lipscomb off a very disappointing home loss too. They are not going to have any mercy in this game.
Yeah. I'm told my mic's bad. Suck it up. I don't know.
It's okay.
I'm not a producer. So,
sound
suck
okay,
it up,
man.
Scott. All right, buddy. All right, Lipscomb minus 20. That's the way I lean, Pat. Hey, 7-12 winners, Jim, has a bunch of Southland questions. Rio Grande Valley versus A&M Corpus Christi. SFA Lamar. CLA, New Orleans. I'm on Stephen F. Austin. That's out of that.
Yeah, Stephen F. Austin's probably the one I like most of those. I think they're trending up a little bit with Keon Thompson back. I mean, he's been back for a little while now, but I think he matters in that league. I can't imagine they're just going to be some lowly pedestrian Southland team with the roster that they have and Kyle Keller at coach. So like him or like that. Liked the under in New Orleans, Sela, but I don't like recommending unders in that league. That kind of just goes back and forth. Whoever gets to the rim first and the free throw line first wins.
Yeah, the
So,
free throw fast ruins unders quickly there. Yeah.
yep.
Okay, let's go with San Diego State, New Mexico from Matthew in the Mountain West. Let's go to Matthew. San Diego State visiting
Yeah.
the Lobos.
I initially wrote down the Lobos here. However, I thought the number was way too high. It's a weird thought. It's an early start, so 10 a.m. local, I believe, for San Diego State, and they have one less day to prep. Dutcher sounded kind of concerned about that coming out of last game. So I think this, remember last year, it was the perfect pick game. New Mexico just smacked the Aztecs. I think similar type of vibes with this one, especially because the Aztecs are younger this year. They don't really have that as old and as trustworthy on the road. Just to inkling.
You know what? Oh, one more. I like this one from Bram. Kansas State at Houston, Houston at Kansas State. Houston. Houston's going to murder Kansas State, even in the Octagon, Matthew. Unless, Matthew, you get cute. You took the home dog, didn't
I
you,
took
Matthew?
it. Yeah, I took K-State.
What'd you get?
I took K-State. 10, I think. I
no.
saw the illness thing, and
Like
I
11 now, yeah.
any team with like an illness association, I bet against them today, basically. So LJ Cryer throwing up all night, whatever.
Cryer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's available. He was ill last game, and they still beat TCU by 20. I don't know how Kansas State scores. My numbers lean K-State, but gut says Houston just beats them, holds them to 50 points.
All right, Jim, back to the rundown.
Back to the rundown we go, and we're going to the biggest mid-major game of the day, nay, the season. The Big West has been the best mid-major league. These are the two best teams with outside chances at large bids. UC Irvine at UC San Diego. Matt, I think this spread is bananas. I cannot explain it at all. These teams are equal. Maybe Irvine's better. And San Diego's laying 6 at home in a terrible home court where nobody attends the games. Maybe they will attend this one, but
no.
have you ever turned a game on there? There's no one in that
Yeah,
crowd.
no, I watched the game last year. Sorry, I watched the game in San Diego State, so probably an outlier game. It was a
Okay,
great crowd.
outlier,
Great crowd.
yeah.
I think this is
Outlier.
going to be a good crowd. We'll see.
I bet half
I
those
don't.
people were Aztecs fans.
I think it was like 30% Aztecs fan. Yeah, very fair. But it's anyway, good environment. I think this. Okay, 6 is too high. I agree. I lean Irvine. I'm not
6
going to
is
get cute
insane.
here. It's very high. I'm not betting Irvine though. So good luck to you. Bet you guys bet Irvine. I thought I made it 5, frankly, which I thought was an insane number. But UC San Diego, like, I don't know what you can look at with theirs. I mean, Irvine's actually had a couple of they've looked dicey in spots, but like UC San Diego has like zero diciness to their resume.
They were down at half to Cal Poly.
They just beat San Diego by 6. I mean, there's not.
Wait, what do you mean?
They were down at half to Cal
Well,
Poly.
I'm saying that wasn't a great effort. San Diego game, but I agree.
San Diego's been playing teams close lately. They've played a lot of teams close.
I agree. The
recently.
Tritons are awesome. But so is Irvine, in my opinion.
They're both awesome. I agree.
It's two awesome teams that could win a game in the tournament. Kim Pum, home court advantage. UC San Diego, 358th in the country. I think if you're giving them 3 points or higher, it's incorrect if you're handicapping this game. So
That's fair.
I think 6 is crazy. I took Irvine. Hey, maybe there's some flu someone knows about or something. Again, it's crazy. The matchup is San Diego. The ball security is a concern for Irvine. UC San Diego, 4th best team in the country at forcing turnovers. That's a huge problem. Irvine's bread and butter is the defensive end. That's how they manufacture offense, defense to offense. I think San Diego is pretty dangerous because they can shoot, have multiple weapons. But I do think Irvine has a lot of options they can try on Tate Jones, who has been an animal this year. Quite frankly, awesome. It's going to be an awesome game. I didn't want to bet this game, but I saw 6, and I had to take Irvine.
It's kind of how I felt too, Kai. I can't fathom it being that high. Irvine's awesome. When's the last time Irvine caught 6 in a conference game?
I know.
Maybe once against UC Santa Barbara.
I made this 4. I say 5-4. Yeah, I gave 2.5 for home. That's probably too much. To your point, Kai. I mean, KenPom has it 2.
Wow. So you have San Diego 1.5
very high.
ahead
Yeah,
of Irvine.
I've surrendered. I mean, I think I bet them to beat Seattle. So their only bad game was the Seattle game. They lost by 13 at home. November 14th. Ever since then, I've been 2 points shy like every game on their rating. So I'm just trying to catch up. We'll see. Fun game. Maybe the best mid-major game of this season.
Yeah, I said this. That was part of my intro for the game.
Yeah.
Best mid-major. Aniwa Tate Jones. Just all-time name. Love that.
Yeah, I just call him Tate Jones. Can't pronounce the first name. Sorry.
Aniwa. You got it. Tennessee at Texas. That's our next game. Another of these elite SEC team goes on road to middling SEC team. Texas had this monster comeback, almost got there against Auburn. Matthias, Tennessee coming off that embarrassing offensive performance in Gainesville. Did you take the cheese with the home dog again?
Mm,
Because I much prefer the Vols here.
I did not buy this one. So at Texas, I was just getting 10 a few days ago against Auburn. I'm only getting 5 against Tennessee. Like, I know Auburn's better than Tennessee. I don't know Auburn's 5 points better than Tennessee on a neutral. Like, just a premise to, right?
I don't
I
think so.
I want to
Close.
bet Texas.
Kinda
I want to bet
close.
Texas. I want to bet Texas. I do. I think the spot's great. I think the way that they battled against Auburn was impressive. Although I think that was kind of an Arthur Kaluma garbage explosion game that kept it close. It wasn't really that
The shots he
close.
was making were
Yeah.
insane.
So, that's anyway, long-winded way of saying I wanted to bet Texas, but I think I'm not getting I wanted 6. I think 6 or 7 is a more fair price, not 4. 4?
Yeah, especially with Tennessee off that brutal Florida loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Texas
Better
also, their schedule, man, back-to-back wars with A&M, slaughtered. Auburn, again, kind of made it a game at the end with Kaluma. And then you get Tennessee. It's like 3 of the most physical teams in the country, back-to-back-to-back. It's a little like Florida, Arkansas, but I'm not quite where I am with Texas on being frustrated with the coaching staff as much as Arkansas and Tennessee. Rick Barnes, great coach, obviously great coach. I do think there's an edge there a little bit. I just don't know how the Texas Longhorns score efficiently, Jim. Kaluma or Johnson likely draws Meshack. I assume he'll guard one of those guys, and that's done. Tennessee's not shooting 1 for 20 from 3 again, whatever they shot against Florida. Lanier, bounce back game. I think the glass is all Tennessee. I think it's the right number. I lean towards the Vols, though, still a little bit.
Barnes back to his old stopping grounds. That a cool narrative
True.
people care about.
When's the last time he's played there? Is it since?
I was gonna say it every year. It's like, no, it's not every year. These are new conference mates.
SEC.
I think he did go back recently, but okay, I'll check. Someone in the chat probably knows.
Yeah,
Doesn't
poor
matter.
Texas. Like after this game, okay, you just play Texas A&M, Auburn, Tennessee, and you go to Oklahoma, and then you go to Florida. It's just they have probably the toughest start to SEC schedule of anybody in that league. That is brutal. I kind of want to bet the Vols, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Can't get there in the number. To the Big East we go. UConn coming off that heartbreaking loss in Philadelphia. Alex Karaman, I heard this stat, guys. I didn't realize it. The first time in his career that he missed both free throws in one trip to the line.
What?
Yeah, and they lost because they were down 1, and he
That
missed
is
both
crazy.
free throws with like a second left.
It's a horrible call, too. An absolutely
Yeah.
terrible call.
Yeah, Kai, we don't love ball, don't lie, but it fit in that scenario. So Dan Hurley says, hug your national championship rings, play with those. That's how you bounce back from this. So awful loss. They go
Is that
to
what he
BC.
said? Or are you making that up?
Yes. No,
Really?
he said that. Yes. He's like, I told Alex Karaman to
That's a
just
lot.
play with his national championship rings. Yeah. So UConn laying 5 off the loss at Georgetown. Kai, Georgetown's been a lot better than we thought. They mix in some zone. We'll see what they do here.
Yep, I agree. They've been a lot better. Kudos to Georgetown. Yeah, McNeely, him being out was a huge problem against Villanova. So was getting 4 free throw attempts all game. I don't know if that was, I didn't watch the entire game. I just caught the second half, late second half, where I saw the reffing was poor. I don't know if that was UConn not attacking the rim, Villanova just not fouling, or the refs not calling much. But that's pretty hard to win when you get 4 free throws all game.
The refs not liking Dan Hurley, yeah.
Oh, sure. Of course. And yeah, I'm sure that plays into it as well. Yeah, Georgetown's been playing well. I'm not sure they have the cojones to take this one. They won't score off the glass. They're not going to score inside against UConn, meaning it's kind of the Malik Mack PV show a little bit. Is Epps playing? If not, that's trouble, in my opinion. Sorber's had his way with foes so far, Matt. I don't think that happens against Reed, against Samson Johnson. I think UConn wins. Now, five's enough to deter me. I thought we'd get a lower number, frankly, and I guess it did open at a lower number. It's been bet up. So I would stay away, but I'm not eager to back Georgetown. I'm not eager to back UConn in this game.
Stay away from me. I mean, I don't know, 5-6, it goes higher. Maybe Epps is in there because I used to not like Epps, but now I'm sort of in the camp that he does matter for this team. He seems like he's trying on defense and they need him for scoring. They're not a super deep team and they're not that old either. So I think he's relatively older with the freshmen they have kind of all around. Micah Peavy, the 8th year, whatever the hell he is, man. So yeah, I just don't trust Georgetown as a home dog because I feel like those crowds just haven't really been up to snuff. You know, what I mean, like I need to see, like, if I'm betting a home dog, I need to know the home crowd's good, and I don't know if that home crowd at 1 p.m. on a football Saturday. I guess
I'll be honest, it was decent when I was there. It was
good.
The amount of people in the stands surprised.
It's gotten a lot better. I know I'm probably talking as an antiquate out of my ass take, but it's still not like a legitimate
still
home
an
court
NBA
that you
arena.
need to
They don't need to
cover.
play
Yeah,
fine.
NBA arena is
Yeah,
a
right.
problem. They can't pack that. Yeah. I get concerned about UConn staff with time to prepare after a loss.
Yeah, I
Like
agree with that
I
too.
know they lost 3 games in a row in Maui, but that wasn't time to prepare. That's when they really excel. If Georgetown's going to try to throw out those zone looks, I think UConn will be ready. They've run some really beautiful stuff against zones already this year, but I don't love the number. It's 2 at Ken Palm and no McNeely, and yet it's 3 points higher.
Yeah, it
I
makes
don't.
no sense really.
Yeah.
It's a good way to
So
put it,
stay
Jim.
away from me.
Good way to put
Yeah,
it.
stay away from me. To the last one on the board or on the outline, excuse me, Kentucky going to Mississippi State. I'm going to guess Matt loves his SEC home team once again here. And here I go. I like Kentucky off the loss at Georgia where they got kind of punked. Mississippi State off a road win at Vandy. This is your buy low, sell high where you're taking the road team, Matthias. Kentucky just gets good shots every game. It's a matter of whether they go in or not. I think they'll make more today. And I love Lamont Butler throwing him at Josh Hubbard. You can even throw away on Hubbard if you want even more size. I like it for Kentucky. I think they at least hang around with a chance to win.
No, I kind of lean Kentucky. It's up to 6, right? So I think at the current number for sure I lean that way. I didn't have the cojones to bet it. Mississippi State. I've waxed poetic about Mississippi State all year. I just don't think they have any flaws. But certainly Kentucky's a real team, and off that, I think they got the road woes out of the way at Georgia, right? Kind of a weird place to play. Like team that was playing for their season, Georgia was at home. I think Mississippi State's played a ton of big games. You could see them maybe coming out a little bit flat today. I don't know, just a
Yeah.
slight intuition. I do lean the Cats, a rare
Kentucky,
deviation away from the home team.
Kentucky was off that insane Florida game too. Like letdown
Right.
effort at Georgia midweek.
Well,
Not shocking.
let's not forget about the flu and cold shooting. Brea was battling with norovirus. The refs as well in that game. Georgia 38 free throws to 19 against Kentucky. I mean, there was a lot of factors in that game. I watched that. It was Kentucky getting good shots, frankly. Like Jim said, every possession. That they just weren't hitting. I love Mississippi State. I love Jans. 6 points is absolutely crazy. I think Mississippi's been awesome. It's no picnic for Big Blue coming in. But I think Pope's team is still a Final Four caliber team. I have not wavered from my thoughts that they are borderline top 10 good. They have fallen down in Kimpom because of a Georgia loss. I think it's a bounce back. Nothing fancy. Better shooters. I don't think they make mistakes. Not sure they went out right, but 6 points is a lot. So I took the Cats.
All right. Big Blue Nation. Love it, Kai, joining me on that. Joey asked if the unders in play here. It does feel a little high. You really need a shootout to 162 and a half. It got bet up from the opener, but I would probably
Just
lean
can't
towards the under.
can't bet Kentucky under. And they're on my. I have a no bet list of sorts like I think you used to make. I put Kentucky on the no under list. I think they want to score 100 points every game if they can. I'm not obviously gonna be hard to do against Chris Chance, but I think like they're trying to score 100 points.
That's what I thought. And then Brown, they didn't get close to the total. Ohio State,
yeah, that was
stayed
weird.
under. Georgia stayed under. Like 3 of the last 4 have gone under. So it's just the one that went over was 206
quit playing
points in
defense,
regulation.
Kentucky. Quit playing good defense, you dolts.
All right, Kai, let's go back to Chat Mob. I know there are plenty of questions.
We got a lot of questions, fellas, but hey, we got some time to do it. SoCon game. Who's the SoCon guy here? Samford, UNC Greensboro. Samford's laying 6. Matthew, what are your thoughts?
I kind of lean Samford. Like I feel like UNC Greensboro is getting just all this love because they've had a couple of, have that big dramatic win over Chattanooga and Ronald Polite and Donovan Eltwell are making everything under the sun. But like
too, right?
and Furman, but Samford at home, like we've forgotten that this is still buckyball at home. It's not to be messed with. Not that their performances at home have been as dominating as they have been in years past. Like they're kind of down to Utah Valley. They lost to North Dakota State, but conference
they
game.
walk through the VMI game. They
the
got
VMA
up in
game,
the second half.
VMI always plays them kind of close, though, right? Like the last couple of years, it's been a theme. I think it has been.
Last year, Samford scored like 140 points on them.
I think VMI covered that game, though, didn't they? VMI's covered like the last 6 of 8. I could be wrong. Kai, check me on that.
This year?
Last year, 134 to 96. Sanford beat them by 38 at home last year, VMI. It was a complete blowout. And then they won at VMI by 39, excuse me.
Maybe it was Citadel. One of those military schools has played Sanford close.
I think it's Citadel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Citadel? Okay. Anyway, all that aside, tangent aside, Kai, I like Sanford. Home Sanford.
How about San Francisco going to Santa Clara, Jim? Big one in the WCC from Eric. 3-point spread. That makes a lot of sense to me. Santa Clara -3.
Yeah, I would take Santa Clara if they weren't coming off that crazy OT win against Oregon State. You could just see a little bit of an energy sapping 48 hours later. That's tough. San Francisco coming off a much easier game against Portland. They were up 10 basically that whole second half. So lean Santa Clara, just kind of spooked by the situation.
Also,
And
Newberry questionable for San Francisco, if that matters to you. Just to note there. I'm
I
trying
think
to.
he matters for sure. He's been
I
out
think he
for a
does too.
while, right?
Yeah, I think he's
Yep.
close to returning. I need to
Yeah.
check my notes.
Ryan Beasley's been out too.
Sycamores just went to 3. Great, awesome. Matt, your Hoosiers are on the road at Carver Hawkeye. They are 5 point, 5.5 point dogs. Thoughts?
I bet them.
No Renew
Indiana,
still. They're playing better without him.
They
yes,
are
better
better
without
without him.
him. What I forgot to consider is I feel like Fran McCaffrey owns like Woodson and Iowa at home could be a vintage 15 of 31 from 3 Iowa game, and Indiana does stupid things down the stretch or something. So I did take Indiana. I do think this new whatever I call it the V2 Hoosiers without Renew looks very real. And Iowa has a couple of minor injuries. I don't think they're actually all the way at full strength. I know who was it? A couple. God, I'm sorry, too many notes today. But I think this Iowa.
Felwell missed last game.
Thank you, Felwell, and then Nick Cooper, Coke also was banged up too. So I think it's kind of a brittle Iowa team. And I know everyone talks about how shitty that home court is. Carver Hawkeye, no respect for Carver Hawkeye in the Discord.
That's strange
I kind of
because
like
everyone.
like the over.
I always thought it was a good home court too.
I like over too, Jim. I agree. That was my second consideration.
Jim, I lean NC State here, hosting North Carolina at 5. I don't want to bet NC State because it's one of those ACC teams that I bet too much and it doesn't go well. But laying 5 in a big rivalry game, Jim, on the road, North Carolina, this team? Thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of like NC State. I know North Carolina's probably mad about losing to them in the ACC tournament last year and enabling a Final Four route for their rival. But Ian Jackson had that comment like, "Oh, that's not our rival, NC State. I'm not worried about them. Whatever." Home dog 5 in that game. I do like NC State. The best big on the floor is Brandon Huntley Hatfield. How about that?
Oh,
Yes.
it's Middlebrooks. Hey, I think NC has the 2 best picks. There you go. Another feather in your cap for Wolfpack.
Are you on
Backers.
the Wolfpack, Matthew?
I am on the Wolfpack. Yeah.
Are you on Washington State getting 18 points at
Yes.
Gonzaga in conference play?
Why did Gonzaga take money?
Gonzaga's not great right
It's
now.
Gonzaga.
Right, they had 5 players throwing up at halftime last game at San Diego.
Oh,
I
is
know,
that
I
why?
know
Okay, well,
Washington State.
It's a big asterisk then on that game, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I laid that and I read the Twitter news and just was like, oh, well, that's a loser. Of course, they slept walk and beat them. San Diego actually won it by 22, but whatever. You're laying 30. Washington State, no depth, concerning, sure, but no travel. David Riley, kind of a bounce back spot. If you just lost to Pacific, or just like a holy crap, what happened to us? And then Gonzaga, I don't know if they're over the flu, probably not over the flu. I love Wazoo here. Best bet for me, by the way.
Ooh,
Plus,
I love it.
Hey, here we go.
Love it. Best bet, Matthew. All right. Well, Jim, I like this game as well in the Valley, and I think you do too because you were on
plus
VSiN
18.
today.
Sorry, plus 18.
Plus 18, yes. Bradley at UIC. I'm still seeing some 2.5 out there. I think it's mostly 3 though now. Bradley laying 3.
Yeah, 2.5 at Circa, so I'll lock it in as the best bet at 2.5.
All right.
Kai. Yeah, I like the Braves bouncing back off the loss to Drake. Drake just kind of out executed them. Eric Foster had a great video of some of the stuff Drake ran over and over and over against Bradley. I think they'll have that fixed. I don't really trust UIC. I wish this was still 1. I think this was 1 at some point, but I'll go with the Braves, Kai, even though I never win on Illinois schools.
Yeah, yes, it is kind of crazy. I'm with you on that Illinois school.
Let's
trend.
go watch this game, fellas. Let's add to the road court advantage for Bradley. I like Bradley here too. 2 is a small number.
Here's one from David. So I wrote up this game, single game guide for Action Network. Oklahoma, Georgia. Assuming the spread would be close to 3 like KenPom has it, I said Georgia because the matchup is definitely Georgia. They will own the inside. They have every single advantage you can think of against Oklahoma. The spread is 7. I took the Sooners, 7. What?
I did too.
That's insane. Give me a break. 7.
No, yeah, I know people talk about how Oklahoma's too shot making reliant. They have some regression in their portfolio. It's like, okay, I buy that, but again, I think if you're betting, I think people are sometimes over eager to bet regression type profiles because it doesn't just all come flooding through in one game. It's still Porter Moser on the road against Mike White in a good spot.
Exactly.
7. Thank you. Like what?
Yeah,
you're
you're getting your buy low on the loser versus sell high on Georgia. Just beat Kentucky. I don't think Georgia's going to be as locked in to stay with that game.
Yeah, 7's crazy. I don't like the matchup, but 7's crazy. So I took 7. Princeton at Harvard. Hey, it's nice having the Ivy back, Jim, isn't it? Princeton laying 4.5 at Harvard. I know Princeton's much better, but what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I like Princeton. I don't trust some of the Harvard youth. I think his name's Will Zekowitz in the Discord. Big Harvard fan. He's been following us for a while. Said he's a little shaky on Mr. Hinton, the freshman. He
Really?
just
Yeah.
hasn't been as sharp since early in the year. And Princeton, very veteran. I think they will find a way to take care of business. It might not be pretty early, might not like jump out to a 10-point lead, but I think through the second half they'll extend. I like the Tigers.
Uh, Caden Pierce, I can't bet Princeton if he's not playing. I think he is like maybe their most important player. With apologies to
When's
Xavier
the
Day.
last? That happened a while
He's
ago,
been
right?
out.
Have they
He's been
played
yeah.
since
They
then?
probably haven't played exactly. They don't. No, they
They haven't
played.
played since December 30th. They had a
He got
non-D1 game
hurt
that he
in the
sat
Akron
out.
I
game.
saw it as an
He got hurt in
ankle.
the Akron game though. Yeah, he got hurt in the
Yeah, it's an
Akron game.
ankle.
I don't know how serious
He
it is.
did come back in, but he was not okay. And he
Yeah,
got
and then they
subbed
took him
out.
back out and took the shoe off. Yeah.
That's a
So
good
I mean,
question.
just for context, sorry. Last year he was like the Ivy League MVP per KenPom statistically. Just
He won
like
Player of the Year.
And
Xavier
Player of the
Lee.
Year.
He won Player of the
He
Year.
won it
Okay, there you
over.
go.
Yeah.
Danny Wolf was in that league. Xavier Lee was in that league. So not too shabby. Good player.
Matt, did I make a mistake? I took Eastern Michigan at home against Akron. I know it's a really dumb bet. I expected to lose, but they're +8. I thought it was big. I think I got 8.5, maybe. Your
No,
thoughts?
he made the right bet.
Okay,
I passed on it though. Akron makes every shot.
It's a
I
good
watched them. They
choice.
make every shot this year. They're
Don't-
like I don't know. They're weirdly good. Bunch of shooters. It's
Don't
just
bet
different.
that. Don't bet Eastern Michigan in that game. That's my advice.
Except
They
I
got
bet
talent.
Akron
The
against-
the
I
DePaul
bet-
defectors.
I bet Akron against Yale when Pulakitas sat out, and Akron made no shots. It sucked.
Jim, any take on Weber State, Idaho State over is the question. I leaned Weber on the side. What do you think about total?
Boy, I got nothing there. Idaho State over scare me in league play because they are so zaggy, slowing the game down versus a lot of the Big Sky teams that like to run. But I don't have anything there.
I'm going to follow up with Winthrop Longwood total. Anything there?
Lean towards the over. I think that does get up and down. It's very high total. No surprise. Both teams like to run, especially Winthrop with Prosser at the helm, but not a strong one. I didn't actually bet it. That was just kind of I leaned that way.
Matthew, home dog alert. BYU -2 at TCU. Did this qualify as a Matthew bet?
No, I'm not a big totals guy, but I do dabble occasionally. I do like the under. As I say that, I see it's getting hit now down to 139, 138.5. Sorry, guys. I was going to endorse that as in good faith, but I can't. I like the ugly game. I think TCU is going to look more like the old Dixon Pitt teams.
I like
Just 'cause
BYU.
they're
I
up.
think they dominate the paint.
Okay, all right. Hey, a twofer. We got Notre Dame and Duke. Going back to Matt, your Dukies. I think you're laying like 20 last time I checked. Is that right?
20, 19.5, 20. Yeah, something like that.
A lot. Shrewsbury versus Shire.
I agree as a dog, but I don't know. I mean, Duke, we talked about this. They're just,
They're a different animal.
they're, yeah, I wouldn't.
Don't
yeah,
fade Duke
don't
in the
do that.
ACC. And if you're going to do it first half, but they will smash everyone in the second half.
Jim, Calbap, your team, Calbap. I know, sorry, you're blowing your nose. My bad, man. Calbap +5.5 at Utah Valley. Does seem a little bit high. I stayed away. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like CalBAP. I gave that out on VSiN. It won't be one of my best bets here on the show to go with. I already gave up Bradley, but I do like Cal Baptist quite a bit. Just think they're a little bit better than they've been valued in the market. I think they can compete in the paint against Welling. So yeah, I like CalBAP.
All right, more games flooding in here. Drake, Evansville from Tooch. Matthew, Evansville been like 3-0, 3-1 in Valley play. Drake has a couple losses, but they're 15-point favorites. Evansville took a little bit of money, actually. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I lean toward Evansville. I just don't think Drake is like this terrifying large favorite. Like I know they're really good and they're playing well, but like they shoot like it's 50 possessions per game. Their talent's not overwhelming, and Evansville like can execute. I don't know. Posado's status is kind of key here, but I guess they've been okay without him.
They've been
I think
way better without him.
so
Way
I think
better.
he matters. I think we're gonna look back and say that was a fluky little 2 or 3 game run. I think he does matter. However, I still like
Four
Evansville
straight
in this spot.
covers good
Four
games
straight
out
now,
of
yeah.
him without him.
Yeah, I don't know how he doesn't matter. It's kind of wild.
The first 2 games he missed, they got absolutely mega demolished.
Yeah.
So I bet against them the next 4 and have lost all of them.
Jim, Oklahoma State going to Utah. That's tough travel, and Utah's taking money. It's out to 7. Your thoughts? Over.
Over. I think this one gets up and down a little bit. Oklahoma State, I keep kind of betting their overs. And granted, they kind of have to play slower in league play than they did against by-game competition. Utah was an offensive juggernaut in non-conference, but I think both teams can score here. The only concern is Oklahoma State trying to slow it down with altitude, but I'm not totally freaked out by that, so I like the over.
Matt, really fun one. Cornell, Columbia in the Ivy. Is it Columbia's time to
Sure.
ascend? I took the over in this game. It's pick. What do you think?
Man, I kind of lean toward Columbia. So Columbia gets the three best teams in the Ivy to start Ivy League play. This happened last year, and they got kind of waxed, and everyone's like, fraud, fraud, fraud. I think Columbia now, a year older, a year wiser, kind of says that's like the bulletin board show. They come out and they give three game. I don't know if they go 3-0, but I think they win today and split the next two in the weekend. Next weekend they play Princeton Yale.
Villanova behind Eric Dixon has been a wagon lately, Jim, and they took a little bit of money against St. John's. They're now 6.5 on the road. Your thoughts?
I like the Johnnies. I think it kind of runs out a little bit for Villanova here. I think Johnnies have enough guys to throw at Dixon, and that defense kind of stands up pretty well. And the rim defense, especially when Boachi sits for Villanova, is not good. And that's where St. John's really makes their hay because they can't shoot. So I actually like St. John's at home there.
UMass George Mason. I took UMass plus 11.5. Do I expect it to win? Not necessarily, because UMass is a tough team to nail down. 1 minute they're beating Dayton, the other minute they're losing to insert school horrible sisters of the poor.
Everyone in the non-con.
Yes, but I did take a little bit of Massachusetts plus 11 against George Mason. Thought it was a little too high. Okay, Seattle and Abilene Christian is our next one here. I got nothing on this game, Matt. What do you got?
Lean Seattle. I think it's
9
kind of a
point
dead
spread.
spot
9
for
point spread.
Seattle or ACU. They sorry, Seattle with their big guys back, big difference. And ACU, they've been dealing with some injuries. I think some illness too. Brett Tanner, bad vibes. I think they kind of walk in and get smacked at Seattle there.
Seattle's good enough to make free throws, and that's what you have to do. Abilene fouls you every time.
Right. They don't know how to not foul. They can't not foul you.
Matt, how are your SWAC vibes doing?
Bad. I bet Mississippi State last game, so
Okay.
I'm still kind of believing some of the really, really bad teams. And
Florida,
apparently,
Florida
yeah, I
A&M
don't.
at Southern.
I
12
like
point
the
spread
over if
Southern.
you're into betting extra totals. But I do lean toward Florida A&M in this game. Southern's been, their personnel is a disaster. I guess it doesn't really matter half the time, but I don't know who's playing any game for that team at this point.
I would say the entire conference is kind of like that.
It's kind of the whole conference is like that, true.
Okay, finally, before we get into best bets, and I got to figure one out, Jim, Memphis hosting East Carolina, Matt's favorite team. Memphis is actually, East Carolina's taking a little bit of money. It's down at 12.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, someone in the chat asked us, is this kind of a sleepy Memphis home favorite type spot? And it feels like that to me. But honestly, Memphis has been more consistent than I expected them to be this year. They've got more interior scoring. They're not fully jump shot reliant, even though they can make jump shots. Danger's given them a little bit of that element. Dante Harris is questionable. I don't care. I don't think he matters. But I would maybe lean towards East Carolina first half. Maybe that's when you catch the napping Memphis and Tigers wake up when it's too close in the second half.
All right, best bet time. Should we do it, fellas? Matthew,
Let's
I think you
do it.
spoiled one of them already. Why don't you remind the folks and let us know if you have any more?
Yes, Washington State against Gonzaga. Again, I don't know why the Zags took money, but I think Washington State's going to compete. David Riley, maybe an audition of sorts for a job that someday down the road in his dreams of dreams he might want to pursue. But that aside, Kai, I also like Colorado State, the Rams at home against the running Rebs. I kind of like what I'm seeing from these Rammies. Sneaky good. They're getting healthier. They got some defensive backbone now. And they're just playing better. And honestly, I don't like the UNLV body language. I watched the last two games a little bit. I get the kind of the old deja vu of, they have talent. They're sort of inconsistent, but I just think that the team is more of a team in Fort Collins. So back in the Rams. Those are my two today.
Jim, what are your best
Yep,
bets?
I've got Bradley minus 2.5. I gave that out. Another one I gave on VEASAN that I'm going to stand by here. Seton Hall, Providence, under 129.5. Both teams have definitely been scoring more lately. I think that has a lot to do with the competition they've been playing. This total 6.5 points higher than what Ken Palm has it. I'll take the cheese. I'll walk into the trap here. I think this is a slow slog half court battle. And the last one, Cal State Northridge minus 4. They're coming off the Irvine loss where Irvine just gave it to them immediately. It was ugly from the start. Final score wasn't as ugly as the entire game was. But they've taken a little money at Cal State Bakersfield. I still am okay with it. I think they completely outclass the Roadrunners and Kai. Andy Newman's Matadors get it done on the road minus 4.
Love it. By the way, Tyler, thank you. We did not talk about Vanderbilt Mizzou, and Jim and I went to Mizzou. I think 5's too many points. I lean Vanderbilt at 5.
Oh, I like Vandy at 5. Yeah, Vanderbilt's been
Yeah.
actually going okay on the
They
road,
took money.
right?
Yeah, they took money.
Yeah, the question is Edwards. I mean, Edwards was horrific last game. 0 for 8 with 3 turnovers in 11 minutes, and he's their best scorer, highest usage guy. You'd like to see something out of him, but yeah, lean towards Vandy and kind of like the over. But I've given up betting Mizzou games because I get them wrong a lot.
It's too emotional. My best bet is Southern Illinois -2, hosting Missouri State. Kennard Davis was suspended for a game. He was back. They had a pretty good effort. These teams are both
Yeah,
0-5
they actually played well for the first time
for the
ever.
first time all year. Yes, I had bet this team quite a few times. These teams are both 0-5 in the Valley. I think SIU is better than Missouri State. I think this home court matters a bit. Ironically, they play back to back. They will switch and go to SIU next game, or excuse me, Missouri State next game. I think it's a great chance for SIU to get their first win. So Salukis -2 for me.
Carbondale. Nobody walks into Carbondale.
Carbondale.
Kai.
Hey, my
Love
niece
that.
goes to Carbondale, so shout out to her and the Salukis.
Nice.
Yes.
I saw Ozzie Smith's son perform at a bar
Huh.
in Carbondale. There's a
What is he?
Oh,
Is he
nice.
a
wild
DJ?
one.
Is he
He's a singer. He's a singer. He's
Singer,
actually
right?
pretty
Yeah.
talented. Yeah, quite honestly. I was impressed by the talent. I was there for a club basketball tourney.
Hmm.
Okay, that wraps it up, folks. That is our show. Obviously, a lot of games we didn't get to. Remember, join the burner, join the Discord. We can answer any further questions there. There's a million of them. So, yeah, enjoy the hoops today. Go Packers tomorrow. That's the most important thing. But yes, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Thursday for our live podcast or back again next week on Saturday for Spinny Saturday.